Okay, folks, welcome back to another fantastic episode of Opali Presents Know Your Pros. Today's guest, we have Jeremy Baker of Arroyo Financial and Insurance Solutions. Jeremy is a local guy here in Pasadena, and he does, that I blew. I didn't have my notes in front of me, so I'm going to redo that. Make this happen for you again. A great guy to know. Yeah, insurance guy.
Such a great guy to know.
Such a great guy to know.
He hangs out in the alley behind Crate and Barrel if you're interested in it.
All right, here we go. Let's do it again. Okay. All right, folks, welcome back to another fantastic edition of Opali Presents Know Your Pros. Today's guest, we have a friend of mine. His name is Jeremy Baker of Arroyo Financial and Insurance Solutions. Jeremy is your life and health insurance broker here in Pasadena. He is a father, a board member. He is a fantastic guy to know if you're looking for options in protecting your life and family here in the San Gabriel Valley. So, Jeremy. Oh, I almost had it, Jeremy, and I blew your name. I can't believe that I did that. I'm sorry. I'm going to redo it again. I usually don't do this. I'm so nervous because I've got
take 25.
I've got Jeremy here with me, and I want to make sure I get it perfect for you because
No, don't worry. It was great. It was great.
I did. I just I totally muffed that, so I'm gonna do it one more time. I'm sorry. All right, here we go again. Okay, folks, welcome back to another fantastic edition of Opali Presents Know Your Pros. Today's guest, we have Jeremy Baker. He's a friend of mine, and he runs Arroyo Financial and Insurance Solutions. Jeremy is an insurance broker of life and health. And if you're looking for options in protecting your family and your life here in the San Gabriel Valley, Jeremy's the guy to know, and I am thrilled to have him today on Know Your Pros. Jeremy, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me, Henry. This is fun.
Well, yeah. Jeremy, I have known you for 2 years now, and I never thought that I would consider in my little network an insurance broker, especially a life insurance broker, as one of my closest networking partners. If you told me that 2 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. But now, I mean, here I am, and I am just stoked to be able to be interviewing you. We have a lot in common, and we have, great networks each respectfully. But I want to know where this all came from. How did you get into this business? I know that when before we started here, you were talking about how you came from the art world, and then you wised up and started doing this. Tell us that story.
Yeah, so my BA is in art history, and as a kid, I loved drawing and painting. It was one of those things that I was naturally good at. So obviously, I gravitated towards it. And when I was in college, I loved art history because you took all these kind of like random things. You took history, you took like the time of place, the people. And you basically would write an entire paragraph about a sculpture or about a painting. And what's kind of weird about what I do now is that I take all these little bits of minutia that are usually kind of confusing to people, and I try and put it into plain English so people understand, benefits and writers and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it ties in. But when I was graduating, I didn't, you graduate college, you're like, oh, give me a job now. And the one job that I was able to get with my BA in art history was I was working at the Getty Center. And after a year, I had a very low pay increase. I think I got like a 25-cent an hour raise. And I said I need to do something else. And my dad had always owned his own business. And it made sense for me to look for something like that. And I interviewed with a firm that was, basically everyone's always hiring for insurance brokers and financial advisors. It's never going to be hard to get a job in that industry. But I applied and I liked it. And there was a whole facet of running your own business and being in charge of your own destiny. And I jumped for it. And it that was 22 years ago. And it's been an interesting, fun ride.
And I mean, that's incredible. And you founded, Arroyo Financial in 2017. And you've been, like you just said, in the business for over 20 years. I mentioned before I began that first question how I would never think of a great networking partner to be an insurance guy like you, especially life insurance guy. And I think that's because to a lot of people, life insurance and insurance products are sort of a mystical thing. The best part to me about running this show is that we get to demystify some of the stuff that most folks face value might not understand super well. So, for you, how do you take that thought that I just kind of gave out here and translate it into what you deliver to your clients at your firm every day?
Sure. I mean, a great example of this is just health insurance, right? I mean, the Affordable Care Act, the Covered California website, it's amazing how many people still they want to call and they want to talk to someone. They want to meet with someone in person. So a part of actually like taking all of that bits of information and putting it together into a succinct explanation, it's a part of what I do, but what people always say at the end of it is like, oh, I didn't realize it was going to be this easy. I would have tackled this, 6 months ago. I would have called you, 7 months ago, whatever the case is. And so there's that aspect of like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm not going to try and figure it out.
Right.
And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to figure it out for you, ask you questions that I know are going to go right to the heart of the matter and kind of get you set up. But that's always what people say, like, especially with life insurance. Like, I didn't realize it was going to be this easy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you don't just do the health insurance angle; it's the life insurance angle too. And you often are working with families and maybe individuals who just had a kid or are building upon that next future. And you were talking before we started recording how it's just an essential piece to that legacy puzzle that families and individuals build, right?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things like I'm not here to sell someone on the idea of whether or not they should get life insurance, right? Like I'm here to give you guidance to show you the best possible solution for your situation. And that could be that like, you've got 2 kids from your first marriage and you just got remarried and you're going to have another kid type thing. I've gone through that with people. You could be a business owner and you have a partner and you're trying to figure out your succession planning. And that's where a buy-sell agreement comes in. And really kind of like figuring out what that need is. It is what I do. I'm going to walk you through it.
Yeah, what you do and what you have a talent for too, Jeremy, is just like putting it in. I mean, you talked about how easy things are. And it's not as though you put it in very plain terms, but you've got such a great angle because you are, like I said at the top, a guy with so much, with a great, fantastic family, 2 young kids. You understand the importance of protecting your life, protecting your family.
Right.
And you don't want somebody who's not got that walking you through that process.
There's some of that too, because I'm walking in your shoes is kind of the idea. I have a family, I have small kids, all day long for people like that. I kind of really just talk about term insurance because at the end of the day, you can buy $1 million or $2 million and it's not going to cost you very much. I mean, like I did a 35-year-old couple and I've talked about this to you regularly, for like $30 a month, they each got $1 million term policy for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And so by the time that they're a 3-year-old 20 years from now, arguably they might still need life insurance, but they can't afford $1 million of permanent coverage that grows and has cash value and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, you want to buy the coverage that you can afford. And same thing with businesses. I mean, you're going to have that desire for, some type of a retirement plan as well. But hey, at the end of the day, if one of you were to pass away, partnerships, what are you going to do? You want to buy term insurance for that as well. So there's like lots of products. There's lots of minutia. I mean, I love long-term care insurance. I can't sell enough of it because literally nobody wants to buy it. It's like every once in a while, someone says, oh, my mom was in a home. I had to take care of her and that took up XYZ amount of money out of my own inheritance. And I don't want my kids to go through that. Right. I want long-term care insurance, but man, I mean, talk about I mean, it's like pulling teeth getting someone who's worth a couple $1 million to buy long-term care insurance. You know, and I do Medicare and regular health insurance, like we kind of talked about with Covered California. You know, the second Amazon starts selling health insurance, I'm going to be out of a job, because it's just going to be add to cart, and it's going to be easy and simple.
Right, but then you miss out on that explanation, and you miss out
Of
on,
course, of
what
course.
exactly does you need. And yeah, because that perfectly segs into the final question I always ask, which is, why should somebody call Jeremy over that next broker or that next company, or just get, an online quote, with a
Yeah.
couple, spit it out really quickly. To me, what I see is that, yeah, I mean, you're going to get exactly what you need, and you're going to have that described through the lens of a guy who, knows that, will put that in front of you, will never, push it upon you, but really describe how it's going to fit best, or give
Yeah.
you best.
Yeah. I mean, and first and foremost, I'm a broker,
Yeah.
right? So I don't work for one company, and this can really affect someone negatively, because if your singular agent at whatever company can't shop you around, then you might be getting a bad deal. And a great example of that is like, let's say, cigar users and even marijuana users, whether that's edibles, smoking, whatever.
Yeah.
There are companies that won't that will give you a smoker rating if you smoke a cigar, once every month on the golf course. But I, as a broker, know that there are about 3 or 4 A-rated, really well-known companies that will give you a non-smoker rating, because they're like, oh, well, the tie-in to cancer isn't really that much there, and I can save you, I can save you thousands of dollars a year with something like that. And that's a really straightforward example, because I mean, you play golf. Almost everybody probably will have a cigar on the golf course every once in a while.
Yeah.
And especially in California now, with marijuana use being legal, that's also, I mean, there are companies that also, once again, great companies, but they won't even sell someone who uses marijuana products a life insurance policy.
Right.
And so you'll just get rejected.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I can get you a great policy for basically the same amount of money as what that initial quote was with the company that rejected you after going through it. And that happens a lot too, because people will get rejected. So it's like, as a broker, I can go out and I can find you something. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be able to get somebody coverage, it seems. And that includes like diabetics, that includes people who have family health issues. So just having that capability, I think, is huge. And at the end of the day, like I said before, I'm here to guide you. I'm not here to sell you.
Right.
It doesn't bother me if you buy a $100 a month policy, or if you buy a $300 a month policy. Either way, I want to get you as a client and kind of take care of that need, and guide you through it.
Right. And I loved what you said at the beginning here, where, you're not here to sell. You're here to talk to somebody who's already made up their mind that this is something that they need, because then it's up to Jeremy to broker that and really act in, your client's best interest, which is what I've always gotten the impression of with you, Jeremy. I mean, like, as long as I've known you, it's just honesty all around, and a smooth, nice process. And you're local. You're an Old Town.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Well,
No, usually it is. Usually it really is, because you for the most part, people aren't, jumping out of planes, parachuting with scuba gear on, and most people are going to be able to get life insurance. That's the key. It's easier than most people think.
Not robbing banks with bags of cash and jumping out of the airplane a la Point Break a little bit.
A la Point Break, yes.
Yeah.
And it's just full circle back to Point Break always, I
mean. Jeremy, I love chatting with you, man. We've taken so much time already, but before we let you go, I want you to let folks who might be checking you out here on Know Your Pros where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you. Give us a skinny.
Sure. So, I mean, obviously the interwebs has me, www.arroyofinancial.com. You can find me on Google. You can find me on Yelp. You can put in Jeremy Baker Insurance. There is like a farmer's agent in South Carolina with the same name. That's not me. I'm here in Pasadena, California. But yeah, online. And then if you do want to call me, 626-314-2443.
Yeah, Jeremy, folks, is really easy to book. He's got his Calendly link in his Google listing. If you're looking for him, he is the guy with the Colorado Bridge in the
Yes. Yes.
a local boy to Pasadena. Jeremy, I can't think of a better guest here on Know Your Pros. I'm happy that you got to come on here, man, and tell your story.
This was good. This was
Yeah.
good. I'm glad that you're doing it. It's a really good little add-on that you're offering, by the way.
Yeah, well, when I charge you, that $999 once we're off of here, it'll be all good. We'll be great.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
get you up on YouTube. Jeremy Baker, everybody of Arroyo Financial and Insurance Solutions. Thanks again, boss, for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Henry.
Know Your Pros.